Hello, welcome to my new YouTube channel. It is absolutely glorious to have you here. I'm afraid I don't have a catchy catchphrase yet, but I am open to suggestions, so please feel free to leave those in the comments. So this channel is tailored specifically for beginners in audio post because, quite frankly, you're much nicer people than professionals. So what I thought I'd do for the first video, before I do any of my other tutorials, I thought I'd do a video on the edit window because, good Lord, look at the state of it. I mean, if you haven't used Pro Tools before, how are you expected to follow the other tutorials? I mean, it's just a joke. Look how much stuff there is. It's ridiculous. There's quite a lot to cover. I was going to do it in like 3 or 4 bits, but I'm going to do it in one go because that is the kind of maverick I am. So how's your attention span? Good? Good. I think it should be about half an hour or something like that. So, you could grab yourself a beer or something, or an energy drink or whatever you're into, really. Anyway, this video will set you up so that you can get going on my other tutorials and learn all the cool dude stuff. So let's just make a track first. You can do that via the track menu by selecting new, or you can just do it the flash way and press Shift-Command-N. But don't worry about that now. I will show you all that stuff later. This is just so that I can show you bits and bobs in the edit window. Okay, first, let's do something nice and easy and go through the track controls. So first of all, we've got the name here. If you double click on that, you can rename your track. Literally call it whatever you want. And just below that, we've got record enable. So enable that. You can see me coming through. Yep. And just to the right of that, we've got input monitor, which is like record, except you don't record. Next door to him, we've got solo, so you can listen to a track on its own. And next to that, you've got mute, so you can just tell that track to STFU. Below that, we've got a track view menu, so you can view stuff like volume automation, mute automation, pan automation. You can look at your multiple takes in your playlists, and you can view the track in blocks for some weird reason. But it's normally set to waveform. There is a shortcut, actually, and it is your minus key, which is next to the 0 near your numbers on your keyboard. So if you're looking at your volume automation like I am at the moment, if you just press that, you're back to waveform, mate. And this little snowflake button does not look for offensive material within your recordings, as you might think. What it actually does, it freezes the track after you've finished faffing around with it. And it sort of bounces it down to one file. It's mainly if you've got loads of MIDI instruments and you want to save on your CPU. Next to that, there is a little button here called Dyn. I think that's how you pronounce it. All that's saying is, yes, your track is working. But if it is sort of blued out or greyed out, then I'm afraid you've got yourself a problem. Well, it just means that you've got too many tracks in your session and your computer can't handle it. But that hardly ever happens. So don't lose any sleep over that. Anyway, next to that, we've got the automation menu, and there are lots of different modes, which I promise I'll go into in another video at some point when we start using them. It's normally set to read as a default, but you can turn it off if you like. Below that, there's a funny little pin menu here, and it's got 2 menus in it. First one is elastic audio, and it's got loads of kind of sort of time-stretchy algorithms in it, which you can use on your audio. Again, that's for a later video. I'm giving myself a lot to do, aren't I? Next menu here is the ARA plugin menu, and you've got loads of nice little toys in here. You've got Acoustica, it's like an audio repair suite. Then you've got Dyn Assist, which is incredible. It basically mixes your dialogue level to whatever level you tell it to, so it's a massive time saver. Next we've got Melodyne and repitch elements, which are basically for getting vocals back in tune, so you probably won't be using those much in post. RX Spectral Editor, on the other hand, is pretty cool. That's another audio repair tool. And Spectral Layers is a tool which you can use on finished tracks and separate the vocals, the drums, the guitars, and whatever other instruments. So if you need like an instrumental for a radio ad or something, then use that. And these are all found at the bottom of the window. So once you've selected it on your track, just click on the tab and then all the controls come up and then you're off to the races. So moving on from all that gubbins, I'm just going to go through what I've got set up here on my default track view. So if you click on this little drop-down menu, this is where you can select what you want on your track view. I've got inserts A to E and I/O. Hey, what are inserts A to E? I hear you ask. So inserts A to E are where you put your plugins, which are things like EQ, compressors, all that sort of gubbins. And you just plonk them in these little slots, and the signal goes through that before it leaves the track to wherever else it's off to. Then the I/O is where you've got your inputs and outputs, and you can set them here. Got this track set to my mic input there and main output there. And there's your volume and pan info just below it. Next to that, I've got marker controls, so I can just click this little plus thing if I want to put a marker in the track anywhere. And that is it for the track view. So I think we can start at the rest of our tour now, shall we? This is the track window where all your lovely tracks appear. You see, audio one, audio one. Actually, let's call it something else. We can just double click on that title and call it VO. There we go. And you can show and hide your tracks by clicking this little circle there. There we go. And it's gone. And it's back again. Bit of fun, eh? So moving on, we've got a little window below that called Groups. So this is where your groups of tracks would appear. So if you've got like 3 tracks and you want to move all the clips on those tracks together in one huge lump, all the groups you've made will appear in here. Let me demonstrate this. So let's make another track. There we go. And we're going to group these tracks by shift-clicking that and pressing Command G. And let's call it VO group. And you can see your tracks have appeared in the currently in group box there. And let's OK that. And you can see the groups appear down there in the little group window. And if you want to suspend the groups or turn them off, you just press Shift Command G. Oh, there we go. So that is all I've got to say on groups for the moment. So I'm just going to delete that group for now and get rid of this little track as well. So these are your tools. And the first tool in the queue is the zoom tool, which I never use. It's far, far easier just to use the key commands, which are R for zoom out and T for zoom in. If there are any key commands that you're going to learn, just make sure it's those two. Moving on, this thing with the blue box around it is the smart tool. And by the Lord's fist, is it smart? It's basically a combination of all the important tools that you use. And the smart thing about it is wherever you hover in the track, it will change to the most convenient tool that you need to use at the time. For example, you can see me hovering here in the top part of the track, and it's like a little line. That is called the selector tool, I think. So you can just click and drag an area of audio of your choice. And here's the smart bit. If you hover to the bottom of the track, you'll see it's changed into a little hand, and you can just grab it and move it around. See, and it just saves you having to switch between tools and ugh. So that, I think they call it the grab tool or something. Who knows? Who cares? Call it what you want. Anyway, the next tool I want to show you is the trim tool. So the eagle-eyed amongst you are about to see that I'm hovering by the ends of the clip and it's turning into a little C. So if I click and hold and drag, you can see it's getting rid of all the nasty little bits that I don't want. And I can do the same for this little clip. Oh, beautiful. But that is not all. See, if you go to the top corner of the clip, either start or end of a clip, it turns into a little square. And if you click and drag, it makes a little fade. See, you can do it on both sides. So that's nice, isn't it? Oh, while I'm here, I should mention that we have got different versions of the trim tool and the hand grabby tool thing. Let's go over the trim tool first. So if you right click on it and you can see they appear in this little menu here. And in this one's called time compression expansion. So what it does is instead of trimming the audio clip, it speeds the audio up or slows it down. And to demonstrate that, I'll just record a little clip here. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. Let me just change it back to the standard trim tool for a second so I can get rid of all this stuff. Because you can't trim with the time compression expansion, you see. Okay, let's change it back. So what I'm going to do is basically speed this clip up because it doesn't fit my imaginary radio advert because my imaginary producer has written far too many words as per usual. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. And now it fits. See? So that's that one. And the other one in the trim tool family is loop. So again, if we go to the end of a clip and drag it out, it just loops it, mate. And it's pretty much endless as well. But I don't think I've ever used that in audio posts. Probably more of a music thing. Maybe you could use it for looping Atmos, but then why would you bother when you could just copy the clip and fade? I don't know. Moving on, select tool, we don't have to bother with, there's only one of those. But the handy grabby thing, well, there's another couple of options here. Personally, I normally have it on the separation option. I just find it a lot more flexible. Let me demonstrate for you. So I'm just going to select a bit of audio here. And you see, I can just grab it and just plonk it wherever I feel like, because it's on separation and I can separate the audio within clips. And let me just show you in comparison to the time option. See, if I select a little bit of audio and try and grab it, can't do it. You can only grab the whole clip. I mean, if you shift and click on another clip, you can move that. There we go. But it's just not as flexible, you know what I mean? Anyway, the third grabby tool is called object selection. Let me just record another clip to demonstrate this one. This is another clip for you for demonstration purposes. Right, so if I click this one, and then if I hold shift down and then click on, say, this clip, do you see it hasn't selected the one in between? And you can just move those like so. See the difference? If I change it to time and I click on that, press shift click and that one, it selects everything in between. Whereas if we go back to object selection and we just shift click on whatever we fancy, we just move whatever we've selected. Let's just change that back to separation. Oh, if your smart tool is not working, by the way, you just need to click this little blue box and then you are golden. So next set of tools are the scrub and pencil. Don't really use either of these that often, to be honest. Scrub, you can just hover over your audio with the scrub tool. This is another one that's... And scrub around for, I don't know, clicks and funny noises that you want to get rid of. But let's be honest, we've got de-clickers and all sorts of stuff, so I don't really use that, to be honest. Sorry. Let's talk about the pencil. You can zoom in and draw stuff out, and here we go, look. Come on, there we go. It's got a few modes like line and triangles, so you can do straight lines, etc. What you can do is you can draw in a bit of automation with it. If we just select volume from the little drop down in the track view menu, then we can just draw in some volume automation, willy-nilly. There we go. That'll do. And let's play that. This is another clip for you for demonstration purposes. So you notice the not so subtle volume changes there. So there we go. They are the tools. Righty-ho, let's go through our edit modes. And just for that, I am going to record a little bit of audio so that I can demonstrate what each one does properly. This is a clip for my demonstration. This is another clip for my demonstration, would you believe? Okay, so there's two clips we can mess about with. So, first mode is slip mode, which is the mode that you're going to be in 97% of the time. So what happens in slip mode is you can just grab a clip and move it around freely. There's no grid or anything. You can basically drag it wherever you want on your track without any restrictions whatsoever. Next mode is grid mode, which don't really use that much in post. And you have to use it in conjunction with this little box up here. And whatever you've got your grid set to, it's set to 1 second here, is the increment in which your clip is allowed to move in. So you see, it's quite restrictive. But you can change the value to pretty much anything you want. There we go. You can set it to 1 frame. So let me just zoom in. I can show you the clip moving at 1 frame, which is actually really useful in post when something goes out of sync with a picture. And you can just nudge it around 1 frame at a time. Right, what should we do next? I know, shuffle mode. Shuffle mode is incredibly useful if you want to do cut downs of like a podcast. You want to lose 5 seconds from the middle and then shunt everything else down. Shuffle mode is the easiest way to do that. Here, let me show you. So let me just select this little bit here. And say, for example, we wanted to lose this highlighted bit of audio in the middle of these two clips, but we want the second clip to kind of bump up against the first clip. Well, in shuffle mode, we just press delete and it brings the second clip and anything after it to the start point of what you deleted. So let me just undo that and show you something else. If you just grab a clip and move it to the left, it automatically bumps up to the end of the clip before it on the timeline. However, let me warn you that if you are using shuffle mode, chances are it's re-editing something. Once you've done your little re-edit, make sure you turn back to slip mode, otherwise you'll get yourself in such a little tiz. Sorry to leave that one on a downer. Anyway, last mode is spot mode. So this is really useful if you want to move a clip or a sequence to a specific time code on your timeline. So if you select one or more clips, you get this box up, which means we can just type in a specific time code where we want that clip to go. So let's go 00001200 and bosh, it's spotted it to the exact time code we typed in. So there are your 4 edit modes. So without further ado, let's move on throughout the edit window. Come on, keep up. Now, let's go to this crazy little gang of buttons beneath the tool menu. So the first one in the line is called Tab to Transient. Mainly, this one's for musos to kind of tab to the next transient of a drum. You don't really need it for post stuff. But I'll show you it in action with this tiny little, I guess it's technically a transient. There we go. So let me press tab and it should go to the next thing. There we go. Now that's a transient. Anyway, I normally leave it off. And when it's off, you can just tab to the next clip and then to the end of that clip and then the start of the next clip and so on. This one has caught me out so many times. It's called Link Timeline and Edit Selection. And you are going to want to keep this on all the time, believe me. So with it on, you can select a clip and just move it around. You see those little blue lines? That's your selection there. And when you press play, it will start at the start of your selection, as it should. But if you turn it off and you select a clip there and you move it, see it's got those shitty little yellow lines there. So when you press play, it plays from when the bloody timeline selection is. And then you're like, why is it not playing from the start of my clip? Like I have done so many times. So the moral of the story is keep that one on. Next funny little button is Link Track and Edit Selection. Let me just make a couple more tracks just to demonstrate this one. So let's turn it on. So whatever track I click on that I'm editing on, it automatically selects the track over there on the left. And that's useful if you want to solo or mute or record enable a track quickly. Apparently, I never use it. Yeah, anyway, next in line is Insertion Follows Playback. So whether it's on or off, they've both got their uses. I usually have it off when I'm recording. Let me show you how it behaves by recording something. Oh, hello. So you see now I've stopped recording. It has gone back to where I started recording. So I can just record another take. Oh, hello. And wherever I click on the timeline, it will start recording from there. But if I have it on, completely different story. Oh, hello. So when I stop recording, instead of jumping back to the start, it'll pick up recording from wherever we've stopped. Oh, hello. So that's useful if you're working on like a long form program or a podcast and wherever you press stop, you want to pick up from straight away. So leave it on for that kind of gubbins. But when I'm recording like audiobooks or something, I leave it off so that I can just record from wherever I click. Next in this little row is Automation Follows Edit. This is another one you want to make sure is on all the time. Basically, if you copy a clip anywhere, it's going to copy all the automation with it. And if it's off, it won't. Let me show you. Let's select volume view and our little pencil tool and just draw in a load of squiggly lines for automation and switch back to waveform. Key command for that is your minus key, by the way. So if I select and copy that and paste it here and we select volume view again, all the automation's been copied. But if it's on orange, which means it's off, and we grab these clips, copy them, and then paste them, you can see Naughty hasn't copied the volume automation. Right, next in line is Markers Follow Edit. Haven't really talked about markers, but they basically just mark where stuff is that you need to remember on the timeline. You can press enter and you can stick one on your main timeline there or click the little plus thing here. Same thing. Let's call that one stuff. Or you can put one on your track just by clicking the plus on the track you want it on. I'm going to call this one Fugs. So if we've got marker follows edit on, let's turn it on, and we select a load of stuff on our track, it moves everything with the marker. And if we don't have it on, guess what? No marker, matey. And I don't think you can do it for the main timeline markers. No, you can't. It's annoying, isn't it? Anyway, I'm not going to cry about it. Next one here is note duration follows clip boundaries. Nah, not going to do that. I think that's music, really. Let's skip over that one. And the last one here is called layered editing. I'm not really sure about this one, although from what I understand, if you get a little bit of audio and you plonk it on another bit of audio like this and take it away, oh, the original audio is supposed to be there, I think, or something like that anyway. Well, it's my first video, so something's bound to go wrong, isn't it? So let's just chalk that one up and let's move on. Maybe I'll do a video on layered editing in the future. I won't. Right, let's move on to the next section, the timecode windows. This is the main timecode window, and you can change it to whatever unit you want. But for audio posts, we stick to timecode. And next to the main window, we've got start, end, and length. And we can just type in timecodes willy-nilly. Let's type in 00005000, and you see the cursor's just found its way there. Or you can type in a little value. Let's type in 2 seconds. And there we go. It's selected 2 seconds of time from 00005000. Then, of course, we've got our old friend, the grid menu, with the nudge menu as well. Grid, I talked about in grid mode, where you can change the grid durations. And nudge, you can do the same, but for nudging little clips around the timeline. Here we go. I'm nudging this one around by 1 frame. Look at that. And you can change the value. Let's change it to 5 frames. And give it a little nudge. There we go. So good when you're working on a TV program or something slightly out of sync and you can nudge it a frame here or a frame there, see if it looks any better. Next up, let's go through our little transport window. We've got pre-roll first. So you can stick in a time where you want it to pre-roll before you start recording. Let's bosh in 3 seconds. And you see it will start playing for 3 seconds before it drops into record. There we go. Post-roll, same thing, but it is for after you've stopped recording. So this is good for like a clean drop-in or something like that. And then lastly, we've got fade-in. Don't think I've ever used that. It's just a weird little fade-in when you press record. You can set to whatever you want. I guess some people must use that. Moving on to the transport, and first little button is this funny little thing here called the online button. And you will click that on when you're syncing up to an external deck. Used to use it in the old days of tape. Anyway, this one is return to 0, so that returns you to the start of the session. And this one's go to the end of the session, so that'll go to the very last bit of your session, which is here, obviously. Then you got fast forward, rewind, and stop, and then play and record. Which leads us onto the playback modes. So first of all, we've got half speed, which is self-explanatory. Then we've got loop record. So if we're working on a tedious bit of audio that needs fixing like this, for example, oh, hello, oh, hello, oh, hello. We can just loop it over and over until it's fixed. Then we've got prime for playback. And this is when you've got hundreds and hundreds of tracks and then your system gets a little bit clogged up. So if you click this on, I think it's supposed to make playback a little bit smoother, something like that. And the last playback mode is dynamic transport. And to be honest, I've never used this. I think it's more of a music thing. So when it's on, you can see the timeline's a bit thicker up there and it's got that little blue arrow. So when you're looping something, you can move that blue arrow to the start point of the loop and check whether the loop is better than what you had before. But it's my video and I'm going to not talk about that anymore. So there. Let's talk about record modes instead. Much more civilized. So we've got good old normal record here. So wherever I click on the timeline, I can just press record. But if I'm playing, I can't just press record willy-nilly. And that, my friends, is where Quick Punch comes in. Quick Punch is the one I always use anyway. So let me show you how it works. Say I want to record after this little globule here on the right. So what I do is I'd press play, and then these two little clips of play, and then I'll just punch in. Oh, hello. Oh, hello. Oh, hello. And then we got a new clip there. Then we've got loop record. So for example, you'd use this if you were trying to resync your voice to a picture. Automated dialogue replacement. So basically you use this if you were trying to sync to a picture. However, be warned, if you are going to mess around with it, go to Setup, Preferences. Then in the Operation tab, you want to make sure that Automatically Create New Playlists when loop recording is checked. And I will show you why right now. So say we wanted to sync up a couple of words to a picture and make it look like the guy on screen's talking. I haven't got any pictures in this session, but let's pretend we have anyway. So I've selected a couple of seconds here, and I'm going to give myself a bit of a pre-roll. Well, 1 second. It's all right, I've done this before. So let's just record a load of takes of the same thing. Okay. 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 Nice. Right, so we're going to click on our little track view menu here and select playlists, and voila, it's put all the takes in order in little playlists. And if you press the little green speaker thing here, you can hear each take. Oh, just take pre-roll off. Okay. Then we can hear this one. Okay. And this one. Okay. Then just turn those off when you want to hear the main track. But if you think this is your man down here, then you can just move that up to the main track. And if you hold control down when you drag it, keeps it in sync. And lastly, we've got destructive record, which just writes over your file. I don't know anyone that uses that, to be honest. I certainly don't. So that's all the record modes. And just to the right, we've got the old record enable light. So if you've got a track record enabled, you can see it there. You can see the meters flashing and everything. And below that, you've got your input monitor light. So if you've got a track on input monitor, it will let you know. And then just to the right of the meters, there's a little section, I think it's like a quantize section. So that's all music stuff. So that no use for audio post. And then almost finally, we've got our clip menu. And you can search for them here. I mean, they're all called VO. Well, maybe we could search for VO 12 or something. There we go. So the bold one is like the main clip, and then the other ones are like little shavings that have come apart while we've been editing. And you can just grab all your clips from here and sling them on the timeline willy-nilly. There we go. And on the next tab, we've got Splice, which is like a subscription-based sample library, basically. More for the old musos. They might do sound effects. Don't know. Never really used it. Next tab is Learn, which, you don't need because you've got me now. And then the last tab is Soundflow, which is like a thing which you can create macros and shortcuts. It's very good, actually. Definitely worth getting involved in. Then just in the top right, you get this little drop-down menu here, and you can select unused clips and delete them. Offline clips, get rid of those. You can sort clips by name, creation date. You can batch rename clips. All sorts of stuff that will be coming up in later videos. And you can export clips from here as well, or you can use the shortcut Shift-Command-K, and you can export them however you choose. And finally, these little things down the bottom, you've got your MIDI editor for music stuff. You've got clip effects, which I'll do a video on at some point. And the rest of these things are little ARA plugins, which you can assign to your tracks, and they make your life a hell of a lot easier. But again, I'll show you those in other videos. Oh, just before I go, there's a little thing that always used to catch me out. This A to Z thing here, if that's grayed out, you can't use the key commands. So if you ever see it grayed out, just click it, and once it's yellow, you'll be golden again. I think that's pretty much everything you need to get going. Oh, actually, this little menu here, you can customize your top bar here. Get rid of those quantize controls. So that is everything now, I promise. No more stuff to hurt your brain with today. I hope that's been useful. And I hope that's enough to get you up and running. It certainly should be for the next few videos that I'm going to be doing. And obviously, let me know if that was too long, and I can obviously do shorter videos. Because we don't want you glued to YouTube all day. YouTube responsibly, people. Right, I'm going to go now, but I will see you in another video very soon. Bye-bye.